we don't stream it, we don't stream it.
Next week I'll hear like
gold
next.
hair. I was waiting, yeah, right. I was waiting for the gold hair to come back.
Oh, no.
No?
It's staying. Yeah, brown hair's staying.
We're not doing gold anymore?
No gold. No gold. I'm just trying to keep what I have.
I guess,
No,
I'll
sure.
text, I don't know,
No,
I'll text
you don't.
Melissa,
You
it was that
have
when I
to
get
go
go live. It's like-
Okay, well, we'll still go ahead.
He's
It's Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. We'll call a meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
June 2020 clerk fees filed and recorder fees filed, and June 2020 auditor's report filed.
Okay, Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
They're having a Renegades meeting, Friday coffee meeting.
I don't know, are we?
Them canceled. I don't know. I asked you first.
We haven't had them yet since
Okay.
COVID-19, so
She said she-
I'll check and see though.
That's about all I got. I saw Waste Management District Board meeting, but it's online too, so.
All I have is a swing. We have that meeting tomorrow at 11:30 at the chamber.
Okay. I have a Wednesday bicentennial committee meeting. Thursday, I'm gonna be interviewed by City Magazine. They're gonna do an article on our bicentennial for September, October. That's Thursday. Thursday, Chiefs meeting. Friday, do you wanna do KWAS, Chris? You want me to do it?
Yeah, I'm not on there yet.
Okay, I'll do KWAS at 8:05. Sunday, St. Martin's not having their picnic, but they're doing a drive-through fish fry, so go out and buy fish. And then today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we're doing COVID testing at the old health department building, 1616, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Yeah.
I was by there this morning, there I get cars lined up.
Good, good. And that's all I've got, and I'll check on the Renegades. Any commission comments? Bids and contracts, cardiac monitor maintenance agreement.
Morning.
So this is an annual agreement that, for our cardiac monitors, they're currently, about 3 weeks or so out of maintenance. So this is just to make sure that we keep them within the medical parameters, and then if we have any issues, they can get rather expensive, pretty quick to fix. So this is just an annual agreement that we'd like approval for.
That's it.
Yeah, did you look over it?
That's not the one we had the issue with the sunshine request provision.
I don't believe so. Wait, is this the one with 19?
There was one, they have the terms and conditions, a link. and I
Oh,
went
you know
to
what?
it.
That is the one. So we can wait and punt this till next week, because we're asking for the lawyers to take that part out.
It has a provision in there that we can't share any records with them, which would include this. And because we're subject to the sunshine law, we cannot agree to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can wait till next week.
So we'll just
Thanks for bringing that.
table it till next
Yeah,
week,
if you don't
okay.
mind. Sorry about that.
Okay. First Watch ESO conversion
You
agreement.
did that last week, so we
Convert-
can move on from that.
Okay, we did that. GMT service agreement.
All right, so this is from AP Triton. So last year we did this, and this ended up bringing us in a substantial amount of additional revenue from Medicaid. And so this is this year's initial invoice. The way it works is we pay their service fee up front, and then they get a percentage of what we collect on the backside. Do you remember how much we got this last time? It was several $100,000 in additional fees, or additional revenues, and so for $7,500, that's a pretty good deal, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Move that we approve and sign the agreement with AP Triton Diesel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay, new business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 12.
This is for $58,008. This is Sheriff's Department, and that's the CESF grant for the COVID emergency response. And I do need action today.
Thank you. I move that we sign court order number 12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. TSI port account approval.
Port accounts are the devices that we use to fit test the N95s and the clean space halos that we purchased for the paramedics and EMTs. And what this does is it provides a true fit test through a computer to make sure that there are no seals or breaks in them. These were sole sourced, that was put out for sole source. It came back that they were the only ones that could meet that. So this is just the approval of that sole source for purchase is all I need is that, so.
This be CARES money paying for this?
Correct, so this would qualify for CARES money under that because it would be directly related to the fit testing of N95 PPE. And so we're getting two of them because of the amount of time it takes to do that. And then we would also obviously share with our partnering agencies and the health department when they needed it, we would be able to provide that testing.
Okay. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I move that we approve and sign the TSI port account.
I don't think there's anything for you guys to actually sign, just approval for me to purchase, so.
Okay.
All right, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And you're paying for that out of CARES?
Yeah, we wouldn't be using the N95s if we didn't have. Okay, discussion of fleet fuel services.
So we've been looking at a way to try to keep our ambulances in their service areas. Right now, we have the one fuel point down at the maintenance shed south of town. And so when the ambulance, like in Apache Flats or here in town, at the jail, has to get fuel, they have to drive out of their area and go down and get fuel, which takes them out of their response area, sometimes substantially for amount of time. So we initially were looking at doing kind of a fleet fuel purchase card. What Kristen was able to come up with. It would actually end up being about $2,700 more per month, so we don't think that that's reasonable, at least at this point in time. So one of the things that we wanna do is potentially look at getting like a fuel point in a different couple areas, or talk to our fuel supplier about setting up some tanks, maybe on existing county property that's closer to those areas. So we keep them in their response zone, but are able to get fuel at a cheaper price. So I guess I'm just looking more for guidance and kind of where you guys would like me to go as far as how to handle this. We do need to keep our units in their response areas as much as possible and not driving. The one thing that that 2,700 does not take into account is the preventative maintenance and the wear and tear and the additional mileage that we would be putting on units driving back and forth from the current process. So the actual amount saved or cost would be lower than that 27 per month, but I still don't think that it meets, at least cursorily right now without further guidance, I don't think that it meets the need to make that leap for a fleet fuel card. Initially, we thought it did, but once we started looking at the numbers, Kristen really helped out with that. I don't think that that's probably the smartest way to go right now. without at least exploring other options. So if you guys have suggestions, or certainly are open to.
So I talked with Matt about this a little bit, and then I reached out to Public Works, and so we have about 5 or 6 fuel tanks scattered in different parts of the county. One in Wardsville, one on Kernurnshill Road, one at a residence in the kind of the southeast part of the county, just because they were roading the road grader too far to fuel back and forth, and so you know, some of those are 500-gallon tanks, some of those are 1,000-gallon tanks, and so they're trying to get some numbers on just what it would take to set some tanks, you know, either at their station or at some place that would be close that we could refuel. And you know, the other thought would be is there's a lot of downtime with EMS, and so obviously they get back from a trip and they don't, you know, they got to do their other stuff, but they could always keep their ambulances full. You know, should be up and full and ready to go all the time. So I think it's at least worth looking into. You know, there is a tank, I think, out at Brazito that they should be able to fuel out there. But anyway, so I think we'll take a look at that, whether it's a 500 or 1,000-gallon tank, and there'll be a little bit of electric, but it's just 110 that takes it to run the pump and self-contained unit. So they're going to get me some costs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good with it.
Software probably wouldn't be able to trace it out there at those other locations either.
They'd have their own tank. I think we're looking at getting them their own tank,
Separate out of that
separate
system.
from Public
I see.
Works.
Well,
I
but
see.
probably some of those other, I mean, so at Monticello, they probably have the software there. But I
Right.
bet they don't have it at Brazito, they don't have it at Centertown, they
But
don't
they're
have,
the only ones using it, so.
Right.
That's what.
well, but, I mean, do you have cameras that, you know, that, and I'm not, I guess I probably shouldn't say it, but, I mean, somebody else could be fueling up their vehicle out of that tank too, so, I mean,
We have the PS track system that we could probably try to put at least some type of measure to where when they fueled in, they have to enter their mileage in the gallons, and we could probably try to check that. I don't know if that's gonna be the most accurate process, but it would at least give us some idea of what that would be. So I think there's some controls we can build in. They're not going to be absolute controls, just because that's gonna be actually having them do it, would be the hardest part of that. But I do think that we gotta come up with a solution to keep them in their response zones, because it does have a negative impact by not doing that. And so, the other thing is we have an internal policy that they have to keep their tanks at 3/4 of a gallon, or 3/4 of a tank, just because of their long distance transfers and the need to maybe go up to Columbia or somewhere else based on what's wrong with the patient. So they are trying to fuel more frequently, and of course, anytime they have to go, that's just adding mileage on. So we can look at the tanks, and if you guys have any other suggestions, we're all ears. We just want to try to fix a problem that we found.
got any other thoughts or ideas, or?
No, we briefly spoke with Chief and our auditor about it, so
Okay.
I'm good with that direction.
Okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was quick.
Yeah, it was a Matt show. Take a bow, take a bow, take a bow. Okay,
Anything else?
anything else, Jeff?
Wow, seeing none. I move we go into closed session pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri for personnel issues sub 3 and bids and contracts sub 12.
Second.
Roll call?
Sam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, so I know we've got Ralph on
What'll be
there. What's-
quick?